viewers, and welcome to the next video in my terrain series. In this particular video I'm going to cover painting the Urban Barricades set from GW. It consists of 6 sections of little crumbling walls and some debris. As you can see, this one here has a motorcycle on it that's kind of wrecked and shot up. This one's got some I-beams sticking out and little metal parts, some kind of industrial stuff going on here. But for the most part they're just a bunch of crumbling building sections. And again, these should be fairly simple to paint. This one over here I had attempted, again, a long time ago, just like the other crater, to just mess with a little bit. It was just painted gray and had some black wash put on it, which is going to be kind of a similar process, but I'm going to try and spruce it up a little bit and make it look a lot better. So the first thing that I'm going to end up doing to get these prepared for painting is I'm going to use the Krylon Gray Primer. I would be using the primer paint in this particular instance, however I couldn't find any in gray, so I'm just stuck using the regular primer, which is fine. We'll go ahead and make it work. I just want some kind of basic gray concrete building like look to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get those sprayed real quick, and then we'll come back and get started on the next step. So all of our wall segments are now painted in the Krylon Primer Gray color. Everything is just a flat gray color right now. It's pretty dark, but that's kind of the effect that I actually want to go for. Just kind of like maybe like a dark concrete type structures here. I'm going to go ahead and just wash all these segments with the Bad Black. I'll go ahead and do one of them for you in quick motion on camera, and then I'm just going to do the rest of them off camera because it's all basically the same principle. So when I come back, these should be all washed. Alright, so I've got the wash applied to my very first wall here, and obviously it's just one side. I still have to turn it around and get the other side, but you can see it's looking very, especially while it's wet, it's a lot darker, but it's looking very grungy, very, very dark. So I've got to obviously let this dry before I do the next step, and I'm going to go ahead and get the other 4 sections washed here on both sides, plus the other side of this one. And then when I come back, we'll jump into the next step of getting these things ready. So as you can see, all of the wall sections have been washed with the Bad Black. They have become very dark. It's a little less dark than when the wash was still wet. I just did all the regular stone pieces of the walls, all the parts that are going to be metal, such as those I-beams or the little pieces of metal debris on there, and the bike here were not washed because I didn't see the point in wasting wash on parts that were going to be completely painted a different color. But before I move on to the next step, the one thing I'm going to need to do is I need to paint the tires on the bike. Since they're not metal or stone, they're going to need to be painted differently so that when I weather the walls, it doesn't look like everything else around it is crumbled and destroyed, yet that bike has brand new tires on it. So I'm going to jump into painting those tires black real quick. What I'm going to paint them with, I have right here the Reaper Gray Liner 09065. And I'm just going to paint the tire sections on the bike there. I'll go ahead and just do that on camera and speed up the video for you. So there we go. The tires are now painted black, and we're just going to go ahead and wait for that to dry, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so the wheels are finished drying. They almost look like the same color as the gray washed building pieces. However, it does have a little black tinge to it, which is fine, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Again, I don't want it to look like it has brand new tires on it and paint those last. So I want to kind of, before I start the weathering effect, I want those painted black. Now, the next step in the process here, I'm going to be using another Reaper paint. It's going to be Weathered Stone 09087. And what I'm going to do is, if you haven't guessed yet, I'm going to dry brush. I'm going to do it all over the entire thing. Again, the parts that are gray still are the metal, so I'm not concerned about those getting dry brushed because they're going to be a completely different color on the next step after this one. So all I'm going to do is go around the whole thing, again on every single one of these, and I'm just going to dry brush because you can see where everything is all kind of one solid color. Yes, the recesses and the rocks are a lot darker, but the top of the stone pieces all look exactly the same. So once we throw a coat of dry brushing on everything, it's going to come out looking a lot nicer. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video and go ahead and get this dry brushed. And there we have it. You can see all the nice little top edges and just all the edges in general and all the top portions of the rocks and the tires all have a nice little highlighted effect to them. Makes it look a lot better than just the plain dark gray action that we got going on with just the wash. And you can see all the nice raised edges and all the rock debris. It's a lot more detailed now. So now I got to get the rest of these finished, and we'll move into the next step. Alright, so the dry brushing is complete on all the wall sections. Again, as you can we'll just take another look at it here. You can see the tires have the kind of weathered look to them a little bit, just like all the rubble and debris around it. Now you see there's a big metal gear that's on there, as well as the bike itself, and there's an I-beam here as well that I'm going to be painting in a rusted metal look. So again, that's why I left it gray and didn't bother washing it and weathering it, because again, it's just going to get covered up and that's a waste of paint and time. So in order to get the effect that I'm looking for on the metal, I'm going to go back to the same three colors you should be familiar with from the rust tutorial video that I did. And those colors are right here. I'll go over them again. We have Reaper Intense Brown 09038. We have Rust Brown 09072 and Explosion Orange 09219. And what I'm going to do is, rather than start the metal parts painted in the metallic color like I did in the tutorial video, I'm going to start and I'm actually going to paint the entire thing in all the areas that are going to be metal the intense brown. So what that's going to do is that's going to set me up to have a piece of metal that looks like it's completely rusted out. There is no color or metallic look to it left because it's basically just rubble, discarded garbage here. And so that I-beam, the whole motorcycle, and that little gear piece that are on there are going to all get completely coated in the intense brown. I'm going to do my best to not get it all over the rock pieces and the stuff I've washed and dry brushed over. It's going to take quite a while to get it down. Even if I speed up the video for you while doing that, it's going to take a very long time. That'd be kind of boring. It's a pretty simple technique. I'm just going to again paint all the metal areas again for the beam, all the edging for the parts of the motorcycle, and the little gear down there. So when I come back, I'll just show it to you covered brown. Again, very simple, very easy, just going to be time consuming. Again, something you don't want to waste time watching. You want to get to the good parts of it. So after I've painted it brown, we'll come back and then I'll show you putting on the other two colors. So all the metal pieces have now been painted with the intense brown. It almost looks like it's pretty much rusted on its own. However, we're just going to add those other two colors to give it a lot more of a rusted detailed look to it. As you can see, again, I just coated all the metal parts brown, and then all we're going to do is kind of do a I guess maybe you could say a hybrid stippling / dry brush using the rust brown first. Once that layer is done, then we're going to move on and do a little bit of the explosion orange. So I'll go ahead and apply those on camera and just speed up the film for you. Alright, so there's our first color applied on there. There's almost no noticeable difference, kind of. I mean, it's there, but it's kind of subtle. The explosion orange is what's really going to make this pop and look rusty. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up again and put that coat on. So all the metal parts have been completely rusted up. The video may not quite be capturing the rust effect as it is, so I'm going to go ahead and again at the end of this video I'll put some still shots of it. Hopefully it should turn out a lot better if it's not showing up again on film correctly. So there's only a few steps left to get these wall sections complete, and one of the things I'm going to do next should be very quick and easy. There's a couple skulls that have been snuck into some of the bases there, as you can see right here, just kind of laying amongst the rubble, and I think a couple other ones have some scattered about. So all I'm going to do is paint those up and wash them real quick. The paint that I'm going to use is the Reaper Stained Ivory 09142. I'm just going to go ahead and give all the skulls a quick coat of that. So now what I'm going to do is just apply a little bit of the Griffin Sepia wash to the skull. And we just wait for it to dry. So the wash on the skull is dry. I only put one layer of the Griffin Sepia on there, and I'm just going to leave it as is. It looks fine. It looks like a skull. Stands out amongst the rubble, and that's fine. So the last step that I need to take care of to call these things complete is the bullet holes that are in the motorcycle and the concrete pieces. When I washed them, I made sure to glob plenty of the Badab Black inside the bullet holes themselves so that it sank down all the way to the farthest point. And then off camera, while I was waiting for the skull to dry, I went ahead and just dabbed some down inside the bullet holes on the motorcycle as well. And what I'm going to try and achieve here with the bullet holes is I want them to be looking, or I want them to look kind of fresh. So as in these walls were in play and somebody was taking cover behind them and then they got shot up. So I don't want to leave them just as is. I want to kind of highlight them a little bit to make them look like they just happened. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to make just the edges around the inside. I want to make those a lighter color to kind of maybe match the original color that would have been the concrete building before it crumbled and got covered in dust and got all dirty and nasty. And the same thing with the motorcycle. I know the bullet holes are in the top, but I can kind of make believe that maybe it was standing up in here at one point, and while being shot it got kind of knocked over. So I'm going to make those look kind of fresh as well. And the two colors that I'm going to do that with are more Reaper paints. The one color that I'm going to use on the concrete is the Rainy Gray 09038. For the metal parts on the motorcycle through the rust, I'm going to use Aged Pewter 09196. All I'm going to do is just around the inside of the rim or the holes, I'm going to go ahead and apply those colors to the concrete and to the metal on the bike. So there you can see the edges of the hole are kind of, again, a little bit brighter, and that would be more, again, the original color of the concrete. When it got hit with the round, it kind of knocked all the dirty concrete off, and you can see what was exposed around it. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that to all the edges of the other concrete holes, and then I'm going to use the aged pewter to do that on the rusted metal parts of the bike. Now, I'm not going to be able to really do that too well on camera just because of the angle I'm at the hole, and my hands will probably be blocking the view. So you saw me do the first one. The other ones are going to be identical, and then I'll just show you what it looks like when it's finished. And then once I come back, I'll actually be done with them, with all the wall sections, and they'll be ready to play. So now all of my wall sections are complete. What I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and take some still shots of them and put them at the end of the video for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for all the likes and subscribers, all the comments. Please feel free to ask any questions or request anything you'd like to see in future videos. And stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for watching.